Hey everybody, welcome to Aude and Tulava. So, who really did write The Lord of the Rings? I mean, it's obvious, right? Of course, Tolkien wrote it, but it goes so much deeper than that. The short version I'll steal from the great Corey Olsen. Bilbo started it, Frodo finished it, Sam edited it, it's tough, and Finnegill copied it. But Tolkien wrote it, you might say. Well, yes and no. Tolkien viewed his works as history that he was constantly discovering. For example, in letter 66, Tolkien tells his son Christopher that a new character has shown up and he didn't even want him. That, of course, was Faramir. Yes, the beloved Faramir. That's what I mean when I say he was discovering history. So how does that change who wrote it? Well, the way he looked at it, he was translating a book written by someone else. Bilbo started writing his story with The Hobbit, There and Back Again. In the Council of Elrond, after Frodo tells his story, Bilbo tells Frodo, "It would have been a good story if everyone else didn't interrupt so much. I tried to make a few notes, but we shall have to go over it all again together sometime, if I'm to write it up." Towards the end of the book, the four hobbits are telling Bilbo their story and he jots some notes down so he can, of course, write it up. Eventually, he has Frodo take all of his notes to finish up the book. The last chapter of the book talks about Frodo finishing up the book, mostly, and handing all the papers and tomes to Sam. The titles were, first, of course, in Bilbo's handwriting, My Diary, My Unexpected Journey, There and Back Again, and What Happened After. Adventures of Five Hobbits, The Tale of the Great Ring, compiled by Bilbo Baggins from his own observations and the accounts of his friends. What We Did in the War of the Ring. Then afterwards, in Frodo's handwriting, The Downfall of the Lord of the Rings and the Return of the King, together with extracts from the Books of Lore translated by Bilbo in Rivendell. Then Frodo tells Sam the rest of the pages are for him, so of course Sam finishes the book, only really a chapter or so. But who's Finnegill and who cares if he copied the book? Finnegill is listed in the prologues. You, of course, read the prologue, right? He's listed as the king's writer. So in the paradigm of Tolkien simply translating a book he found, of course, Finnegill's copy is essentially what Tolkien is translating. Finnegill it's Aragorn's scribe. The prologue says he copied the red book copies that were made in Hobbiton, and he added some bits and pieces like the Tale of Aragorn and Arwen, for example. The fun game I like to play, of course, while reading the book is who wrote this part? Basically, because there are a few parts which I'll get into in like later videos that feel like Finnegill really thought there needed to be, like some more flowery language, or maybe some sentences in the middle of a very clearly Frodo written part that really just sounds like Sam editing something in. It's a really fun game to play. So really, the way Tolkien liked to think about it is he was just translating and discovering history, which brings us to an interesting point. Yes, Tolkien translated the entire book. So when you read characters in the book talking about the common speech or Westron, you may have thought, like I did originally, that the common speech was English. That is actually incorrect. It's an undefined language we don't know about. And the fictional historical accounting written by Bilbo, Frodo, and Sam was written in that language. What makes this even cooler or just crazy when you think about it is the fact that if that's the case, it was written in the common speech, then the Elvish that is translated from Elvish into the common speech by Bilbo and Frodo, it's then translated into English by Tolkien, translated 2 different times. Letter 144 has more information on this directly from Tolkien. He says, "What I have in fact done is equate Westron or widespread common speech of the Third Age with English, and translate everything, including names such as the Shire, that was in the Westron into English terms." The dude was just bananas. The very next paragraph he says about the Rohirrim that he has turned their names into forms like, but not identical with, Old English. So basically he's putting it in terms we can understand. Again, translating it twice. Now, is this all necessary information to enjoy The Lord of the Rings? No, of course not. But how fun is it to explain this to someone and just see their eyes kind of glaze over? But no, it's not necessary to enjoy the books. But once I learned things like this, I read the book and read the book in a completely different way. It's kind of like reading the Silmarillion. You pick up on so many more things as you go through the Lord of the Rings and why they're important. So here, we're going to start walking through the Lord of the Rings, and as you travel through with me, I hope you really keep in mind all of this as you go through. It's made all the difference for me. So thank you for watching. For much more Lord of the Rings and Tolkien related videos, please like, subscribe. Until next time, Aure and Tulva, day shall come again.